Good afternoon and welcome to From Where We Are, stories of news and culture through the lens of USC and Southern California. I'm Jordan Sheldon, coming to you live from Studio B in USC's Annenberg Media Center.
And I'm Tamilore Odunsi. It's March 1st. On today's show, we take a closer look at who Volodymyr Zelensky is, the effect the Russia-Ukraine war has on industries like Disney and FIFA, and a first account of what it's like to be on the set of Euphoria. All that and more from Where We Are.
Today is Fat Tuesday, or Mardi Gras. While the big celebration happens in New Orleans, here in LA you can find a more intimate party in places like Harold and Belle's Creole restaurant. Patricia Webb was there today. She moved to LA from New Orleans when she was 10.
I'm from New Orleans. I came here in 1954, and I've been here ever since, but I usually go to Mardi Gras almost every year. I'm going to New Orleans from Easter week.
Today, Mardi Gras returns after the pandemic shut it down the last 2 years. Fat Tuesday is marked by over-the-top celebrations of the Eve, Lent, which begins tomorrow on Ash Wednesday. Now, these news headlines by Tamanna Sood.
Next hour, President Joe Biden speaks to the nation in his first State of the Union address. Even with the strong jobs picture and approval of the infrastructure bill, Biden is challenged with convincing the public of his accomplishments. He faces immense pressure going into the address while having the second lowest presidential approval rating on record. Today, a massive convoy of Russian tanks and vehicles stretching back 40 miles has been moving through Ukraine toward Kiev. Russian airstrikes are also hitting Kiev. Today, a Holocaust memorial, an apartment building, and Kiev's TV tower were all hit and damaged. The UN reports nearly 700,000 people have fled Ukraine as refugees, waiting in freezing temperatures to get out. Most of them are women and children, as the men in Ukraine are prevented from leaving to stay and fight. In local news, Los Angeles County likely will lift its universal indoor mask mandate as early as Friday. Nothing is yet set in stone, but LA County's decisions will most likely align with those announced yesterday by the California Department of Public Health. State public health officials say they still highly recommend everyone mask in public indoors, but masking indoors is no longer a requirement. Those are some of today's top headlines. For Annenberg Media, I'm Tamanna Sood.
The Ukraine crisis has drawn a lot of attention towards the region in the past week, but no single person has had more notoriety and newfound celebrity status than the nation's leader during the time of the invasion. Fitz Cain has the story.
Earlier today, President Zelensky received a standing ovation during his speech to the European Union. Zelensky brought his translator to tears as he united European world leaders in support of Ukraine.
We are fighting just for our land and for our freedom. Nobody's going to break us. We're strong. We're Ukrainians.
Celebrated for his courage in a time of danger, Zelensky has quickly become the protagonist of an international crisis. He's the face of Ukraine, the underdog hero fighting off the Russian bear. But the president hasn't always been celebrated. Before he was president, Zelensky was a famous actor and comedian who voiced the Ukrainian version of Paddington and won Ukraine's Dancing with the Stars in 2006. His only prior political experience was his role on the show Servant of the People, where he played a schoolteacher whose speech about corruption in Ukrainian politics went viral and launched him into the presidency. And then the premise of the show became a reality during Ukraine's 2019 election, where Zelensky beat former President Poroshenko. His win was seen as a joke. People thought he was a weak leader, that he couldn't stand up to Putin. But with Russia's invasion of Ukraine, that was all about to change. Zelensky transformed into a wartime hero through his moving speeches. The president, a Jewish descendant of Holocaust survivors, stood up for his country, saying, "When you attack us, you will not see our backs, but our faces." In a video posted last Friday, comedian and former host of The Daily Show, Jon Stewart, argued that the skills Zelensky developed as a comedian have transferred well into his presidency.
What this dude is doing, it is incredibly moving. I mean, we're watching Shecky Green transform into Churchill.
Maxime Franco, a Ukrainian student at USC, has one thing to say about the leader.
I want the whole world to know that our president has got the biggest balls in the universe.
For Annenberg Media, I'm Fitz Cain. Justin Hio also contributed to this story.
Russia is losing billions after many international companies are refusing to do business with the country after its invasion of Ukraine last week. Matthew Andrade has the story.
As the war between Russia and Ukraine rages on, several prominent companies have decided to pull their business from Russia. Some of these companies are Shell, General Motors, and Warner Brothers, just to name a few. They say they are hoping to show solidarity with the people of Ukraine by stopping their involvement. Perhaps the most notable of these companies is Disney, which will not be releasing its upcoming Pixar film Turning Red in Russia. USC professor Mickey Turner, who specializes in entertainment and pop culture, applauds companies like Disney for taking a stand.
This is a time when theatrical releases particularly have been, continually suffering because of the pandemic. So for them to make this kind of move that will, definitely impact them somewhat financially, I think is a very brave choice, and I think it's the right decision.
Disney still left the door open to business with Russia by stating, quote, "We will make future decisions based on the evolving refugee crisis." A forgotten group in this conflict are the Russian people who are being punished for their government's decisions to invade Ukraine. With the entertainment industry mostly leaving the country, Turner says the mental health of Russians will take a toll.
They're suffering tremendously because people are losing their jobs, people are losing their livelihoods. So you suffer financially, you suffer, mentally. And it's, right now we're still in the midst of a pandemic. So I can't imagine what those people are going through and what kind of, impact beyond the financial impact it's going to have on them.
FIFA suspended the Russian soccer team from competition, preventing the team from competing in the upcoming World Cup in Qatar. Beyond the financial impact the country will suffer from missing the tournament, Turner has empathy for the players who won't be able to play because of their country's actions.
It's really unfortunate that the young athletes particularly get caught up in this because, it almost seems like they have no choice in the matter, that the government is controlling their lives, controlling the amount of money they can make, and telling them to do what they need to do to be number one.
As the war between Russia and Ukraine continues, even more companies can move their business out of Russia in the coming weeks. For Annenberg Media, I'm Matthew Andrade. I'm Jordan Sheldon. We're glad you're with us for From Where We Are.
And I'm Tamilore Odunsi. It is 8 minutes past the hour. Coming up, we spotlight a female kung fu athlete. And we talk to another student who made an appearance in the last episode of Euphoria.
Stay
Ooh.
with us.
Juicy. In celebration of Women's History Month, a story brings to light Amy Pang, a USC student who embraces her culture and breaks imposed stereotype as a female kung fu athlete. Lutian Wang has the story.
Amy Pang, a sophomore majoring in economics, has been practicing Kung Fu for over 12 years. She said she started Kung Fu to break out of the quiet, nerdy Asian girl label.
And so I dropped my art class for Chinese martial arts classes at my Sunday school. And I think that was just kind of because I thought it would make me cool and it would make me stronger and more confident. And I just wanted to break out of that stereotype.
Pang felt it was liberating and fulfilling to practice Kung Fu. She attended her first major U.S. Wushu competition at UC Berkeley in 2018, where she was intimidated by a lot of athletes who seemed to train a lot more than her. But she never felt like wanting to giving up and enjoys being able to present on stage what she's working on.
I see this competition as more of learning through osmosis and just something I do for myself instead of comparing myself to other athletes. It started off as a hobby for me, but then it slowly became a passion. And for me, it was something that was really part of my personality trait in high school.
Passionate about practicing Kung Fu, Pen started a martial arts club to teach beginners in high school. With 4 other students here at USC, she has started the USC Kung Fu Club that teaches forms, weapons, and fighting techniques.
So I enjoy teaching beginners of various skills and backgrounds, and I almost enjoy that as much as or more than competing myself, because you really get to see the impact you make on someone, and just seeing people grow and become more confident with themselves physically and beyond.
In light of Women's History Month, Pen has a short message for female athletes.
Regardless of sport or background, don't be discouraged by external judgment and what outsiders perceive as, quote, masculine or feminine within your sport. You're really doing your sport and being passionate about it for yourself.
For Annenberg Media, I'm Lu Tianwen.
The internet has been searching for her since the Euphoria season finale premiere on Sunday. It is the infamous.
Oh my god.
That's racist girl.
She literally, by the way, is so gorgeous, guys. She looks gorgeous on screen, but in person, it's insane.
She said the 2 words that we were all thinking. Our very own Madeline Curry.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having me.
It is such a pleasure to have you on.
I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, so this moment was completely unexpected for you.
Completely.
And I want to get into how it happened. How does, an ADR actress unexpectedly land a feature line that Twitter, by the way, goes crazy over?
Insane.
It's kind of crazy. It was very unexpected, as you said. Basically, I'm used to just, for ADR, you go in a lot of the time, it's with a group of other people, and you improv most of it. But this time, they just needed select pickups and designated written lines that they needed somebody to record. So, the Loop group coordinator reached out to me and said, hey, I know this is crazy last minute. Do you want to just record these random lines? And gave me a list. And I said, yeah, of course. And I knew it was for Euphoria.
Wow.
But they didn't give me any context for what was going on in the episode. It was just completely separate. So I recorded the lines.
So you didn't even know what you were calling
I
racist.
had no idea what I was calling racist. All I knew was that I was in the audience.
That is actually...
And be sure to check out the full interview on uscannenbergmedia.com and our YouTube channel. And that's all we have time for today on From Where We Are. Happy Tuesday, which it is not. That is an old headline. Please excuse that. Spencer Cline, Jeffrey Lee, and Polina Cherezova produced today's show. We also got help from Shirley Jihad.
Fernando Cienfuegos is our technical operator, and Derek Ronfro composed our theme music.
We are also streaming live on KXSC. Be sure to follow KXSC at kxsc.org/listen and on YouTube. Once again, I'm Jordan Sheldon.
And I'm Tamilore Odunsi. And from all of us at Annenberg Radio, wherever you are, we hope you'll join us again for
From Where We Are.